Okay everyone, this is Pixel.tools pixel editor, and I'm going to show you how to use the Colordex system in this video. So first of all, I'll minimize this so that we have more space to work with. Here's the Colordex down here in the lower left. If you don't see it, you can click the Colordex button to make it show itself or hide itself. You also have settings for your brush, like the size, the strength, softness, and steps. And these are important when using the Colordex because it'll help show the steps of the colors in your color ramp that you'll be using. If you don't have this feathered around the edges, then you won't see multiple colors being used when you use the brush tool. For instance, if you have it like that, or if you have the steps down, then it'll just look like a solid color. There's also pressure sensitivity as well. If you are using a Wacom tablet and a Firefox browser, there are other options for tilt and direction, but those don't work at the moment. Only pressure sensitivity, which is this icon as well, or it can be set to none, which is this diamond. So let's have that size set down so that we could apply the colors. If you have the size up, then you're applying a color with a really big brush tool, but we just want it small just so that we could set up our color ramps. I'm gonna first select a color and then draw it into our Colordex, and then select a different color, draw it into our Colordex, making it touch the previous color. They have to be connected for the Colordex system to find all the colors in your color ramp. So then we just keep adding more colors depending on how we want our color ramp to look. Okay, so that's good. Now next you'll want to hold Control and click one of the colors. You'll see this little marker, circular marker, show up, signifying that you've clicked this color, and this color will be the color that you draw towards. Now you'll also want to hold Control down and right click another color and drag off of it into a transparent color, or you could click transparent area and then drag onto another color. So you see these markers show up, and this basically tells the Colordex system if we're drawing in a transparent area on the canvas to start off with this color and then move towards this first color that we selected. Alright, if both of these, well, let's first show what happens when we do that. Oh, it dithered it because we have the pencil tool. The pencil tool is selected, so we need to select the brush tool. And there you go. Now, as I was saying earlier with how to select the colors, if you right click and just click and make it so that these two markers are on top of the same color and one is not off of the transparent color, then you won't be able to draw into transparent area because it doesn't know which color to jump up to step onto. If you've already drawn with those colors, then you could draw onto those and it should work, kind of like a mask. So that might be useful. So you'll most likely want to have one of these off and one of these on. You could have it step onto the color ramp at different areas. for instance, that color. So when you draw, it'll draw and start off from this color. As you can see, it does. You could also eyedrop. Let's zoom in a bit so you can see. If you eyedrop, then it draws towards the eyedropped color. So, okay, left click on that one, so it draws towards that. So you kind of play with it, have different ways of using your color ramps. You know, you could use the color ramp in the opposite way if you want. You also have these numbers down here if you want to save your brush settings. For instance, I click number 6 and move these around, and now that's saved into number 6, so when I go back to number 6, it has those settings. You could also press the numbers on your keyboard. Okay, so another thing you'll notice is there's two colors here, just primary color and secondary color. So like if you're using the pencil tool and you have this color on the primary color, it'll draw with that color. And then you could select the secondary color and it'll draw with secondary color. And by the way, because it's dithered because I have these settings with the feathered edges, and also because I'm using pressure sensitivity. If you want it no steps and softness all the way down, and the pressure sensitivity set off, it'll be a solid color like that. But anyways, with the secondary color and primary color, you could switch between them like that. You could also, you know, click the color and then set it, and you know, switch between them. And what this also allows is to have two Colordex ramps being used at the same time. So you could have this secondary color and create a second ramp. You got to make sure that the colors are touching each other. Okay, so since I have the second color selected at the moment, and it shows it being on top of the other color to signify that it's been selected. If I do the same thing as earlier and hold Control and click the color that I want to draw towards, oops. One thing you may want to do is lock the Colordex so that you can't edit it, so that it prevents you from making any mistakes. So you hold Control, click, a little transparent circle will show for the second Colordex, and then hold Control, right click a color, drag off of it. Kind of hard to see the transparent circle and square there, but it's there. And what this allows you to do is, if you're using the brush tool, and if your softness and steps are set, or you're using pressure sensitivity, and yeah, brush tool, you'll have another Colordex ramp to use, and you could eyedrop as well and all sorts of things like that. But as you can see, it doesn't draw over the other Colordex because it's not using the same colors. But what's cool is you could switch between these by pressing X on your keyboard. As you can see, also the markers switch as well. And you want to, okay. Okay, why is that not working? Oh, okay. I know why. Because I dropped the wrong side of it. That's why. I had that I dropped because I don't know why. But anyways, you can switch between them. So for instance, you might want to be able to draw the color ramp inverted or not inverted, and you could just switch between them really easily instead of reassigning those markers. Another thing you can do is combine color ramps together. So for instance, I'll take this color and just draw, oops, I'll have to unlock the Colordex in order to do that, but I'll draw it like that. So now they're connected, and so let's see what happens. I'll have to reset the markers as well by holding Control and clicking. So there you go. As you can see, it transitions. If I drop that color, it'll be more obvious, as you can see. So now I could draw into both colors because they're all connected together, and it knows how to transition between everything. So you kind of play with your color ramps and set them up in different ways to get different effects. And you could use multiple layers. You add a frame, it basically acts like another layer. So you could draw on top of it like that. Or you could reorganize your layers and move that one down so now it's below it. And depending on which one is selected, you'll draw to that layer, to that frame. You'll have to have them all being displayed, or you could set that frame to only show the one that you're working on, as you can see. And there's also a secondary viewport. If you press V, or if you go to Window and select secondary viewport, it'll show up right there, and it also has settings as well. So you could have one zoomed out and this one zoomed in and see how you're working, how it looks at normal size versus zoomed in. And there's other settings. There's also undo and redo, so you could undo things like that or redo them. But I think that covers most of the things for the Colordex, which is what this video is meant to focus on. So if you have any questions or feedback, feel free to contact me. But yeah, if you want to use this, if you want to try it, go to Pixel.tools, as you can see here, and it's free to use, so enjoy.